Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about the application consent, right? What are those consents and how we can manage application consents for users. Now, what are those applications where we wanted to manage those consents, right? And how those consents can be effectively used. So here consents and permissions, we would be allowing to let end users access those applications, including, let's say, ChatGPT or any third-party AI tools. This since the ChatGPT and other AI tools are available in the market, right? And people are trying to just use the AI tools for different purposes, be it for their personal use, be it for work-related activities or anything, right? Now, there are different questions, pros and cons, and both sides, right? And it depends on the different uh, balance or how organization is going to take that for their security posture, how they wanted to let their users to access any of those chat GPT as well as AI tools, basically. And if they wanted to let them use any such tools where people can go ahead and upload the data files and get the results, right? And if people are uploading any company data, business data, maybe that data is something related to a project, something related to any future strategy, any data. It could be a business expansion plan or something like that, right? So that is something that is confidential to the organization, confidential to that respective business. But if user don't know the data complexity, data requirements, or they don't know exactly what data that data should be, but they are just trying to get their work done because of they wanted to get something or some insights, and they are uploading the data to the any of those AI tools, right? And they will try to just get the results, but they don't know how that data can be exposed to the chat GPT or any AI tools, especially, and how that is going to be, maybe that's going to be not appropriate for the organization, right? Because that's the company or that's the organization data, and they don't want to expose it over the internet or over the market at all, right? And that is why there's a way for us to, we should allow, or we should only allow to the certain applications instead of allowing to each and every application that user can go ahead and log in with their work or school account, and then they are able to access, and then they can upload any data and files and anything, and then they can get their work done. Maybe they wanted to filter out some points out of the 10 pages file, and only those points they are going to use it for their future meetings or any other work, right? But to do that, we can stop the consent of the users for each of those third-party applications, and then user has to provide a justification why they wanted to provide or use that application specially, right? And this way they should be able to only access that respective application, and they have to make sure they need to provide the consent, and once they provide the consent, then admin has to approve that request, and then only they would be able to go ahead and do that, right? So that is what I'm going to show you in this video. And also I'm going to show you how we can uh, log in with the work account, and then how that work account is going to be accessing that respective application, right? So let me go ahead and do that. So I'll simply share my screen and I'll show you from the beginning. All right. So I have the settings, which is disabled for the tenant, right? And also I will set or add the administrator account here instead of adding or using the any external user or any other user in the tenant, right? And then I would simply show you, because this is how it should be. And then this is what we wanted to do for the whole organization, right? So let's go ahead and do that, or I will share the full screen so that you can see the complete details. All right, so I'm on the Entra portal here, and within the Entra portal, you can see that I'll go back from the home page, and from home page we have configuration settings that we can do, which is from the identity and then enterprise applications. Once we are here, we have consents and permissions, right? So under the consents and permissions, we have options whether we wanted to allow or not, right? So here's the option which says do not allow user consent. That means it is not going to let user do their own consent in order to accept or use or log into to that respective applications, right? So it could be ChatGPT or it could be any other AI tools or it could be any application in general, right? And people can simply try to log in with their work account. That means people are simply going to log in with their work account and their credentials or identity is going to be exposed to that respective application, right? And some or the other that identity can also be visible to the other systems, right? And then maybe that identity can be used for marketing campaign tools or marketing campaign emails and all other different activities, right? And you can see that there are other options which says allow user consent for apps from the verified publisher for selected permissions recommended. So from here, if you select this one, we get option to select permissions to classify as low impact, right? So if I click on this one, it is going to move it to the permissions classifications tab. And from here, we have a bunch of options, including low, medium, and high. So medium and high, uh, these are currently in preview mode. And you can see that under the low, we have certain permissions that we can allow. So these are the Graph API permissions that we can add to this respective consent and permission section so that these permissions would be granted when users are trying to access to that respective applications and they would automatically be able to get into the system, right? So this way, we can add those permissions. And similarly on the medium and high level, even for those also, we have these options. We can add all the permissions using graph, whether it is delegated permissions or whether it is majorly delegated and app permissions are grayed out. That means we don't have option for app permissions, right? And we can add those permissions as well. All right. So let's go back here on the user consent settings and then let's look at the third option, which says allow user consent for apps. This means that we are allowing consents on each and every applications, right? We don't care which application should be allowed, which is not, and we are not putting any filters there at all. So let's say any application that user is trying to access and they are simply using their work account, school account, they are signing it up and they are simply trying to log in, right? So they would be able to do it directly without any problems, without any issues, right? And it is going to let them get into the system and access that application, right? So this is that option where which is something which is not recommended in certain cases, and in many cases each and every organization has their own security and compliance requirements and policies and that they are following, and it is also recommended at certain age or certain stage where we are allowing certain applications with certain permissions instead of allowing each and every applications. And we have security team, that respective security team is going to validate those applications, how those applications are compliant, whether they have security and compliance standard met, whether we can rely on their security postures and everything. And if not, then we can simply go ahead and block this, but still user consent should be flow through the admin and admin team can look into it, and then security team can take it whether that application should be allowed to access to the users, because this is going to be increasing the shadow IT part of the IT infrastructure and applications stack. Because if people are using freeware tools, freeware systems, which are unknown to the business and the overall IT as well, that means it is going to increase the users security posture, not increasing, rather it is going to increasing the security side where users identity can be use for unknown situations or unknown purposes, right? So this way, we should definitely take uh, appropriate decisions to whether we wanted to disable it, we should allow it or what, right? So let's say I have set it to do not allow users, and then under the admin consent settings, so this is the admin consent setting who can review this consent, right? I have added one of the user account here, which is administrator account that I am using this account, and this account can get the notifications to review that. So let's say discard this for now. And you can see other options are set to yes, because these are the options where these are going to set or send out an email notifications to that respective user as well as the administrator. And there's an option for us to see or extend that particular expiration period for that request or consented request. So which is consent request expires after a number of days. So by default, it comes with 30 days. And if we wanted to extend it, we can extend it to up to 60 days. If in case we have that policy or we wanted to do it, something like that, right? So we can decide and change that accordingly. So for now, I'm going to keep that range as default, and I'm just going to, or I have added admin account here, right? And then I have set it to yes on all these two options, and we should be good here. Also, now I'm going to jump on to the ChatGPT application, and from there I'm going to show you how we can add, let's say I'm logged into ChatGPT here, right? And I wanted to, but before that, I will show you where we can go ahead and use work or school account, right? So from here, you can see connect to Google Drive, which is a Google Drive, and from there, users can upload any files to the ChatGPT context. And from here, we can connect it to Microsoft OneDrive. So OneDrive includes personal as well as work or school account, right? And from here, we can add that one. So let's say before that, I'll simply refresh this page, and I would like to show you one of the settings as well. So let's say I'm logged into my account here, and under the settings, there's a connected app section. And from here also, you can see all those connected applications, including Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. With the personal, it could be Hotmail or Yahoo. No, not Yahoo, Hotmail or Outlook majorly. And then we have OneDrive with work or school account. So we can connect it from here as well. And we can connect directly from here as well. So let's say if I go here, click on plus button, click on or just hover mouse and click on this button here. Now it is going to redirect to the Microsoft sign-in page. And I'm going to use this different account, not this one, because this is my admin account and it was already used. So I'm going to use a brand new account instead of that. And I have it with me here. I'll just copy this email address, paste it, click next button, and I will enter the credentials for this account. Paste it here and click on sign in button here. So now it is going to ask me to authenticate, because it also needs the authentication, right? So because I'm logging in first time to this browser with this credentials, that is why it is trying to authenticate. Now, once it is authenticated, you can see that this user is trying to access this third-party application, which we have blocked, right? And even you can see that number of permissions are going to get through once we go through. Now, this user is trying to access this application, but we as an organization, we really have not allowed this application, and we have blocked this application at all, right? And now we have also asked users to put their justification here, because we wanted them to provide justification why they wanted to use this application. As is there any business use case? Is there any legitimate requirement where they wanted to use this application? And then they can go ahead and submit this request for approval. You can see that I'll put this I'll put justification for this application, and then that request should go to the administrator, right? So let's say I wanted to add justification, something like I'm working on sales deck preparation and hence need access to this app, something like this. So this is kind of a justification that as an end user I can put in, and then this request can be sent it to the administrator for approval, right? So this is one of the way where once end user requests this application, that request goes to administrator and admin has to approve that request basis on the how the organization is handling these kind of applications access and requests, right? Basis on their needs of and the overall security implementations and postures and everything together, right? And then let's say if I go ahead and request this, so request is going to be sent here. You can see that your admin has been notified of this request to access this app. Once admin reviews the request, you will be notified by email, right? So now this is something which is going to show this on the end user screen, and then end user has to, or the administrator has to approve that request. So let's go to Entra portal and I'll show you from there. So from Entra portal, we can come back and we need to see that request. That request is going to be shown up here. Here you can see that that respective application is showing up, right? It was not there earlier. You can see also the date created and last updated date. So the date is today's date. This is not the previous entry, right? And if I, as administrator, click on it, you can see that the application name, homepage, and reply URL of that respective application, right? And then how to enable access requests. So there is a bit of description about this application as well. So now, who has requested this application? Requested by. So here you can see this user has requested this application with their UPN, and they have also put some justification, right? Why they need access to this application. So we can go through the justification, and maybe there is a legitimate use case. If yes, then we can go ahead and review permissions and then allow this application, or we can block it, or we can deny it basis on our uh, decisions, or basis on requirements of this security and all other different decisions. It is not directly something that we don't want to allow people to access. Instead, we can take the appropriate decisions, which is going to be making the balance between the user experience, user needs, and everything, right? And then that can be taken ahead. And there's a help as well, so which is going to give us the details about all of these options at the top, including review permissions and consent, then deny, block, and review application, right? So if you wanted to review applications, so from here we can click on it, and then it is going to open it in the page where this application is created, and it's going to show. If we go back and click on this one, again, we can review permissions and consents. So it is going to open it up, this window, and I, as administrator, logged into this application to review it. I just need to click on this page or this credentials or identity, and from here I can see the same permissions, and then I need to go through all of these permissions again, and I need to decide as per our policies and everything together, and then I can, if we wanted to go ahead and approve this, then it is going to accept this permission as administrator. And if no, then I can simply cancel this one from here. And from here, you can see that it has been canceled. And to show you in the email as well, there would be an email notified to the respective administrator or respective group of people wherever we have added that to the email, or who should receive that email notification. So let's click on this. So this is the first email, or this is the email where it has sent it. Here you can see that this email has sent out, and it says that please review the admin consent request for ChatGPT by this date, right? So we have set it for 30 days, right? That is why. And here you can see the complete details: who is the requester, who is, or what is the email address of that user, and then the requester's organization, requested app, which app it is, then requester justification, and then request date and expiration date. So we can see all the details of this request, and this email is sent by the MS security email ID, security system directly. And this is going to automatically be sent out to the respective administrators who are part of that respective group, wherever they needs to get, or they should get the notification, right? So yeah, this is how we can build the workflow. So this is going to be complete workflow. And even if you wanted to build workflow more granular, right? And then we need to work on some of the admin consent settings here, whether we wanted to, that needs to be notified to a respective groups or respective roles or respective users only. Then we can go ahead and add those groups, users, and then roles, right? Basis on that, it is going to notify those teams. Maybe if you wanted to notify the security team, or maybe separate security team has their respective group, or only the users directly, instead of doing all of this stuff, right? So yeah, that is all for this video I wanted to show you and convey, because this is something many organizations are trying to push, and they don't want to let people access, or let people access any applications, right? Any applications, as in anything that is really not good for business and that may impact their issues or something, right? And that can bring unwanted situations for the organizations, right? So yeah, that is how it is going to be. And if it is added, what would be the scenario, right? So for now, it is not added, right? Because the request was sent to the administrator and administrator did not approve. So let's say if it is approved by administrator, so it is going to show up here in this application context, right? Similarly, if there are other applications apart from ChatGPT, and there are other AI tools, right? And people are still trying and accessing. If we have blocked this appropriately, that means people won't be able to do it. But if we are not blocking it, that means people can simply go ahead and sign in and access any applications, and then they can do anything, right? So yeah, this is how it is. We can prevent it, and this can be managed from Entra and from consents and permission section. And that can be very straightforward for the organizations and make the security stronger than other unwanted situations, right? Right, so that's all for this video I wanted to show you and talk about. Hope you will like it, and hope you will enjoy and know and learn something about this one. And let me know if you have deployed this, enabled this across the organizations. What are your experiences? Any thoughts about this? And also watch other videos around Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Teams, and Entra ID especially. I have created so many videos around it, and around FinOps as well. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.